Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time today, you are most welcome. My channel is about the rhythm of life, and today we are going to talk about the imposter syndrome. I believe the imposter syndrome is something that most people may suffer with. And you know what's really wild about the imposter syndrome is that some people never reach their full potential. And it's not because they can't, it's because they get trapped by the thing that we call imposter syndrome. They're not imposters, but something, maybe a situation, maybe a person, maybe their own mind, convinced them that they're a fraud. That constant fear that someone is about to find out that you're nothing but a fraud. It's believing that your success that you've achieved all these years has just been via sheer luck. It's thinking if I show up as myself, they'll see that I'm not who I think I am. But here's the truth that I want to share with you, that the imposter syndrome happens to be people who are absolutely capable. It's that tension between what you've achieved and what you secretly fear that you don't deserve. Why do you not feel that you deserve everything that you can get in life? Maybe as you sit down and as you are listening to this reflection today, there's some experience that you've had where you feel like or have felt like that you're nothing but an imposter. That on paper, it says what you should be able to do, but when it comes time to you to show up and show out, you allow fear to override you, and then you start the self-doubting. Then you start thinking that actually, is this something that I should even be doing? And before long, you've convinced yourself that actually you should go down a different pathway. So maybe you felt it. Maybe you felt what it feels like to have the imposter syndrome, standing there ready, but thinking, what if they don't get it? What if they don't like what I have to offer? What if I'm not as good as those people think I am? Now, the voice you over prepare, it makes you delay. It sometimes makes you even silence yourself, and that simply means to put yourself on mute. You know someone like that, don't you? I know you do. Experienced, talented, capable, and when it comes time to show the world what they're capable of, they're hesitating. Not because they can't, but because they believe that they shouldn't. And that might be you. And we call that the imposter syndrome. It's so tiring. But sometimes it's just about pressure. That's what syndrome is. Pressure of being seen, the pressure you put upon yourself at being evaluated by people, the pressure you put upon yourself about the expectation. What are other people going to think about me if they see that this is the pathway that I'm now doing? And if that's you and you experience life as an imposter syndrome at the moment, if you know that you're ready, but showing up and being visible makes you tighten up, it makes you shrink, it makes you fearful, then I want you to listen very carefully, because you're going to feel doubt when the stakes rise, okay? You're going to question yourself when more eyes are upon you, and you're going to focus on more of what could go wrong than what could go right. And if that happens to you, it's going to feel heavy. You're going to tell yourself, I'm not ready. You're going to tell yourself, I need more experience. You're going to tell yourself that I should wait. You're going to tell yourself that perhaps now isn't the right time. You're going to tell yourself all these silly things. And while you're comparing yourself to others who might look confident and doing the same thing that you want to do, I want you to remember this. If you don't remember anything else, if you truly believed you were incapable, you wouldn't care this much. That pressure that you feel when it's time to show up, that anxiety that you get when you've got to demonstrate, when you've got to publicly speak, when you've got to showcase the world what you can do, that's not proof that you're a fraud. It's proof that you care. Pressure, it can amplify self-doubt. So a lot of people who are experiencing the imposter syndrome, it's because they're suffering so much self-doubt, and it's about the pressure that they're under. And so if you're feeling pressurized, or if you're feeling the pressure to perform, the pressure to get it right, it's going to make that inner critic inside you a lot louder. It's going to make you double check your every move, even when you know you should be celebrating. Even if you have success and you come off the platform, or you come out of a room that you've held the meeting, whatever it is, you're then going to question yourself. So I want you to think about what pressure you're under right now, because pressure is simply a sense of, I need to let some things go. Now, I'm sure that you felt pressure in many ways. Maybe you're about to send, I don't know, a proposal, for example, and suddenly you look at the proposal and it feels really weak. And you're about to post the work out to people. Now you're second guessing everything. Perhaps someone praises you, but you're just brushing it off because you think they're just being kind. So it's that uneasy feeling. It doesn't mean that you don't belong. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It just means that you're stretching. How about that? You're stretching. So when the next time you feel like a bit of an imposter, it's because you care so much about what it is that you're trying to do. And when you care so much about what you're trying to do, and an enormous amount of pressure places upon you, not only through your expectation, but the expectation of others that want to see you do well. And in order to perform, in order to show up and be that professional, self doubt creeps in. So I want you to understand that as you carry on listening, I want you to recognize that that uneasy feeling that you feel, it doesn't mean that you don't belong. It doesn't mean that you are not right for the job. It just means that you're stretching. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now, the imposter syndrome is about growth. Okay, it's about knowing that we're stepping into an arena where growth is going to take place. And sometimes that growth can come up making you feel really shaky before it starts to feel natural to you. And that pressure that you're feeling, it's not your enemy. I don't want you to look at pressure as an enemy. It's not that at all. But what it is saying to you that you just have to be kinder to yourself just for a moment in time, because sometimes you're just not kind to yourself, are you? Well, now you've got to be, you know, learning that doubt doesn't make you a fraud is everything that you need to take away from this. Your nerves can be living alongside competence. That growth always feels shaky before it feels natural. And that pressure that you're feeling, it's not your enemy. It means you're expanding. Now, imposter syndrome sounds like it's always going to be there. And self doubt under pressure, well, that's just temporary. So maybe the question isn't for you to ask, how do I deal with the imposter syndrome? Maybe the real question is, where am I under pressure right now? Because pressure is going to show up when you're moving forward, when you're visible, when you're growing. And that discomfort that you sometimes feel with it, that you start to get sweaty palms and you really want to branch out. But what will people think of you if they start seeing you branching out and doing new things? It's not a warning sign, it's proof that you're expanding. So you don't need to kill the doubt that you feel. You just need to understand it. You're not an imposter. You're just adjusting to your next level. I want you to keep going because you've got this. You're stronger than what you think. And if you can't see it yet, you will. And I want you to also know that, you know, self-doubt is can overshadow your achievements, and it can lead to anxiety. It can prevent people like yourself from embracing their true potential. your true potential. It's fully about you participating in all the opportunities that come your way. It's standing on a platform, knowing that you're capable and still thinking, what if they don't get it? But instead of saying, what if they don't get it? What if they do? What if they love it? What if they love what I've got to offer rather than saying, what if they don't like what I've got to offer? You know, sometimes when you suffer with the imposter syndrome, it can make you feel like you're underprepared, and it can make you over prepare and still feel like you're underprepared. It can make you delay making certain decisions. It can hold you back from showcasing your true voice. And I know you know someone like that. I know you do. Someone who's capable, someone who's experienced, someone who's talented. But when the opportunity comes to demonstrate their skill, they hesitate. Not because they can't do it, but because they're convinced they shouldn't. Too often, people call themselves imposters when they're really experiencing pressure. Pressure of being seen, pressure of someone making a judgment about them, pressure of the expectation of what other people are going to say. But know this, even the best person in the world, they're still going to get judged. Now, that judgment may not come around in something negative. The judgment might be something positive. Wow, weren't you great? Wow, wasn't you good? Feel doubtful when the stakes rise. You're going to question yourself when really you start to know that people are taking an interest in what you're doing. When people start to know that you're trying to push yourself ahead, then you're going to find that that expectation is going to put you in a sense of fear. So you're going to think about what could go wrong instead of what could go right. You're going to imagine being misunderstood before imagine being people appreciating you. And that can feel heavy. You're going to tell yourself, I'm not ready. I need more experience. I should wait. You're going to compare yourself to people who look confident. You're going to assume they don't feel what you feel. But here's the truth. If you truly believed you were incapable, I've said it before, you wouldn't care this much. You wouldn't feel this pressure. You wouldn't want to get it right. You wouldn't feel like a fraud. So you're under pressure, and that pressure is amplifying your self-doubt. That pressure is making your inner critic say to you, you're no good. And that pressure that you're feeling can make you scan for mistakes. And so you might notice it in everyday moments. Maybe you're about to send the proposal and suddenly it feels weak. And I said that to you earlier about the proposal. You know, so many people sit and they write things or write emails to people and to propose an idea. But then they start questioning themselves, is that proposal good enough? You know, and I want you to recognize having the imposter syndrome is simply about that you're learning now. You're learning something new. And you're learning that self-doubt doesn't have to equal you feeling an imposter. You know, imposter syndrome is something that can be triggered by self-doubt, and it can be triggered by someone else's expectation of you, and it can definitely be triggered by you wanting to branch out and be stronger and better at what you do in life. But it's about expanding your comfort barrier so that you feel much more at ease as you begin to stretch. So you're going to grow. You're going to feel uncertain at first, and that's fine. You're going to feel doubt before you feel steadiness, before you feel steady on your feet. You're going to feel more exposed before you feel more confident. But that's when most people turn back. They feel discomfort and they think it's proof that they shouldn't continue. But it's proof, like you're expanding. You don't need to eliminate the doubt that you feel. You just need to understand it. And you definitely need to know you're not an imposter. You're just adjusting yourself to the next level. So I've said it before, keep going. You've got this. I believe in you. and you're much stronger than what you think. My name is Anne-Marie Bond, and I'll see you on the next episode.